Welcome to another episode of Tomes and Tunes. I am your host, Arielle Silver. I am here in Los Angeles. I'm a singer-songwriter and an essayist and a teacher of holistic yoga practices. And I'm just happy to be here hosting the 53rd episode of Tomes and Tunes. It's been a wild ride, and just loving these weekly conversations with songwriters from all over the place. This week, my guest is Abby Posner. She is a Los Angeles singer-songwriter, I think originally from Colorado. Maybe we'll hear a little bit about that. But she is also a multi-instrumentalist. And if you're a player around here in LA, you hear her name bounced around. Oh, you got to get Abby on banjo or something like that on your song. So she's fantastic. Really excited to have her. Before I bring her on, I want to tell you that I, this week, launched my Patreon. And if you are familiar with the Patreon platform, you know that it's sort of like an NPR sustaining membership. It is like a Netflix subscription or a wine club or something like that, where just for a couple of bucks a month, starting at $3, so less than a cost of a cup of coffee, you help to sustain my work as a singer-songwriter, as a Tomes and Tunes host, and all the other stuff that I'm doing in this realm of music and story. And in exchange for that, what you get is some insider access. So I'm sharing my brand new song babies with my Patreon posse and the backstories. And I am a published essayist, and it's really lovely to be writing down some of the backstories to share with my insider group on Patreon. It just launched yesterday. Today is the second day. And if you join me now, within this month time, I will send you a gift in the mail. Real gift, snail mail. Actually, you will get mail other than bills. And the reason I decided to launch the Patreon right now and take this month for the introduction of it is because right now, as of yesterday, it was 11 months since the release of my last album, 1,000 Tiny Torches. I love this album, and I thought, what a great way to celebrate it, the final month of its first year out in the world, but by bringing people in and sharing the new stuff that I am creating moving forward. So before we get to everything, I just want to give a shout out and a thank you to some of the people, actually, these really wonderful people who have already jumped in and have become members. So thank you, Leslie and Becca and Rob, Charmin, Justine, Anne, Todd, Chandra, William, Linda, Kathleen, Terry, Kate, Nikki, Mary, Janet, Marlene, Michelle, and my sweetheart Darby. Thank you all so much for getting the ball rolling, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. So I'm going to put the Patreon link down there to roll through the show. And if you would like, please join. It helps to support the cost of this platform, StreamYard, and the other gear that I use for the live streaming, and a whole bunch of other stuff, including booking and promoting, touring, radio promotion, all of the things. So anyway, let's see, what else do I want to tell you? Before I bring Abby in, one more thing. I am playing the Club Passim Campfire Festival this weekend, and it is a virtual festival. Club Passim, of course, is the legendary folk and singer-songwriter venue in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I am here in Los Angeles, and a couple of years ago I did go out to Passim, to Boston, and I played the Campfire Festival. I'm very excited to be able to play this year right from my shed. So it is happening this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, and you can tune in all weekend long. There's a lot of great singer-songwriters and traditional folk artists performing throughout the weekend. I will be doing a song swap with 3 other wonderful songwriters at 4 p.m. Pacific Saturday. 7 p.m. Eastern, and this is on Saturday. Of course, they have the festival going on all weekend long, so that's what's happening there. And now, enough of me. I want to bring in Abby and get to talking with her. So let's see here. Hi, Abby.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Congrats on the Patreon. Everybody go to the Patreon page below right here. There it is. There it is.
Thank you. Do
That's
you have
awesome.
one?
I don't. I started one many years ago, like kind of right when it launched.
Yeah.
And I realized it wasn't exactly what I was trying to do, because I was trying to do like a Kickstarter, but Patreon
Yes.
is more like a month, like you release things monthly, kind of in a special way. And I might do one at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did a Kickstarter a couple of years ago, and for me, it was a very heartwarming experience. It was a lot of logistical, pragmatic, on the ground work, but I felt really buoyed up and supported, and it was a phenomenal success. And so that was great. And so
That's
I
great.
haven't wanted to do the Patreon thing. I was focused on a single project. Like you said, they're very different types of platforms. So I was focused on just making my record and moving forward with that. But now I'm writing about a song a week, and
Good
a
for
lot of those
you.
songs are never going to end up on an album, or some of them will. And I wanted to start this Patreon so that there was a way for me to share these new song babies and also the backstories behind them, and
Very
stuff
cool.
like that.
Well, I am so excited for you. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a really, really cool idea.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
and call me if you if you decide to venture forth. That would
I might do it. So
I'll
it's
share.
like you're in this industry, you kind of have to filter your energy in a certain way
Absolutely.
and like figure out, okay, am I gonna spend a lot? Like I have a friend, I'm sure you know Claire Means, who
Yeah.
just like
Actually, I just emailed
plays.
her today. It's
Oh,
weird.
cool. Yeah, she
Yeah.
plays live like every day on, I think it's called Twitch.
Twitch. Yeah.
And she also, but like her, you can tell that her energy is filtered into like I am playing live nonstop, right? I've been like lately spending a lot of time producing, recording, and getting ready to like release some albums, but it's just like, where do I put my money? Where do I put my time? Kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, and Claire and I know each other just from playing a few shows together here. She's awesome.
So that was a great segue, because I'm curious. So she's pouring her energy into performance, and she has for a long time. I think she's been busking forever, right?
Ever. Yeah.
And you just said that you're pouring your time in, your basically your resources, time and money into producing. Is this for a new record?
Yeah, I've got 2 new albums coming out that are like 10 songs each, and very different genres. I'm going to be releasing like pop and electronic music that I've been producing and writing, and collaborating with other artists from around the world that's like very focused on sync and TV placements. But
Yeah.
a lot of it feels also kind of authentic as an artist. So I'm going to release that as an artist, and a full 10 songs of my like folk Americana stuff as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
Beautiful.
that's where it's been. I've been playing on the folk Americana album. I've been playing everything, mixing everything, producing everything. So it's a lot of work. A lot of
I
work.
watched your Topanga, is the Topanga Folk Festival. You were the winner
Oh,
of the
cool.
songwriting
Yeah,
contest, right?
Blind spots. Yeah, yeah.
And the video is very cool because you're playing all the things,
Yeah,
and you're
I did
interacting
that.
with yourself too. It's a very playful, fun.
It's so much work. I just started editing a new video in Premiere Rush. I'm not a video editor, but I started to do more of that kind of stuff where it's like,
Yeah.
here's the behind the scenes of me playing bass and drums and mandolin and banjo and stuff, which is really fun.
Yeah, we have to learn how to be video producers and
We
live
do.
show
We have to
producers,
do it all.
and
Yeah, and release a lot of content, and it's very time consuming.
exactly. Which is why I, when I came back to the heart of it, I was like, I really, for me, the heart is writing songs, and I'm the kind of writer who's sitting down with my guitar and writing. My sweetheart is a composer and is sitting in there like with Ableton Live, working on multiple tracks, and recording as it goes. And I'm
Yeah.
just like a very different type of songwriter from that. For me, it's very much like I could be sitting on the dock of the bay, with my guitar and a notebook and my little recorder, and I'm just sitting there. So
That's
mixing
awesome.
is not something that I have ventured into at all. It's not my realm yet. But
Yeah, it's my favorite thing.
oh,
Producing, playing
is it?
everything. It's like I just my playground. I love it. Yeah.
Of course, I'm
Ooh.
under the flight pattern, so you will hear.
I know. I was gonna say we could figure out what key that plane is in, but it's just switching all over the place.
What side of town are you on?
I'm in Santa Monica.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So you got your own airports over there.
We do. Yeah. Luckily, I'm not in the like airport path to LAX, but I do hear planes every now and then. It's not terrible though.
They
Yeah.
switched the flight pattern over here. It used to never, I could hear it, but it wasn't going over our backyard. And then a couple of years ago, it switched, and now it's like, oh man, I
Where are
hear it.
you at?
I am 3 miles from the Burbank Airport, so I'm right on.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's no joke. You're like right there.
pretty close by. Which that's another interesting thing for people who are recording musicians. How to soundproof their space, right? How to
Yeah, I live
deal with.
underneath an old house. It's a one bedroom, and I converted this whole living room into like the soundproofing and stuff above me. I converted the whole space into a recording studio, but I can still hear them. Like it just kind of keeps my sound a little bit more
Right.
buried. I can still hear them if they're on top walking. I can hear them, and it's kind of funny because they're not home very often, which is nice. I can work during the day usually, but
I gotta
it
say
bleeds
that
into the mic for sure.
we're so used to now something that is somewhat close to perfection, quantized and melodined, and just all of the blips and beeps and
Yeah.
so-called flaws. I think of it often like a fabric, like a tapestry, where like you know maybe a thread comes, kind of pops out or something like that. Like we get rid of all of that in the studio now. But I
Yeah.
remember in the 90s, especially, I don't know why I associate this with the 90s, but maybe it's because, it was still like the CD
Mm-hmm.
cassette-ish era.
Sure. Sure.
A lot of my favorite artists, the recordings, like Michelle Shocked, I
Mm-hmm.
think it was her Campfire, I think it was recorded at Kerrville,
Uh-huh.
and it's like you can hear it was just recorded on, you hear the,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
hiss of
yeah.
the tape someone was just recording, and I
I love
loved
that
all that
though.
stuff.
Like that's kind of it's an interesting shift because when I'm working on the pop stuff and the electronic stuff, like it does have to be really clean.
Yeah.
And that's the melodyne, that's the like, crossfades, you're like cleaning up everything. And then the folk stuff, I'm like, oh, there's like a little fuzz from the electric guitar. I'm gonna turn that up and like go off that and make it almost sound like a tape, right? Like I'm recording
Yeah.
straight to tape. And so I actually find myself more open to doing like the raw like the raw vibes because I record in here, so I'll hear something outside and use it, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of those kind of weird sounds on the new album. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear it. So
Yeah.
I was reading your bio, and you shifted to folk Americana into that world sort of after you got your start in more, was it more rock and indie kind of music? I'm thinking Whiskey Go Go and stuff like that. Like where did
We
you
were still
start
folk. We
musically?
were actually playing at the Whiskey as a folk band, but this was like
Okay.
in the early 2000s. So like we actually were busking long before Claire. We were out there. I think I'm a little bit older than Claire. We were out there in like 2000. Let's see, 4 on the promenade, and this was my first kind of acoustic band called Fear Mia, and we kind of got all our connections on the Sunset Strip through busking on Santa Monica. So I've been doing folk music for a long time, but I do have roots in like punk and rock as well. Like I've been definitely playing as a side person and I'm like genre fluid. I love every genre. I love every style. I've played a lot of different styles. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but folk is like folk and roots and blues. That's like my heart. Yeah.
So so you're from Colorado originally?
Yeah,
Where
I'm
was
from
the
Evergreen.
seed? Evergreen, Colorado. Where was the seed for you for becoming what you are now in terms of music? I don't mean genre-wise, I just mean being a full-time musician or,
Yeah.
touring, recording, all of the stuff that you're doing. What if you were to travel backwards in time and just let the movie of your life scroll back? Can you pinpoint where the seed was planted for you to become what you are?
Yeah, I love the way you're stating that question, like where was the seed? I always go back to, well, there's two things. My mom was never a professional musician, but she would always play Joni Mitchell or the Indigo Girls. Like she would always play guitar and sing in the house. And so when I was a very little kid, she was like taking guitar lessons as like, as a mom, she was like, I'm going to take guitar lessons. So she would sing. And then my dad would just, every day, all day, there's music going at my parents' house. Like it's the radio is on and it's like the blues channel, the gospel station. My dad is like a music historian. He's not a musician himself, but he's just like, he is so he's so knowledgeable about rhythm and blues in the South and like a lot of R&B and gospel, and he just knows a lot about that. So he definitely influenced me, I'd say. Just having music on in the house all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this recently that in my home growing up, there wasn't a lot of music in the house. There was always music in the car. But there wasn't, my parents had a great record collection and fantastic sounding stereo. And I lived in a lot of different places growing up, but one of the places was, I'm thinking right now of my house in New Jersey, and the living room it had wooden floors, and that was where the nice stereo was, and the record player was there. And I just remember lying on that wooden floor with my eyes closed and just feeling the vibrations of the record through the floor. And then at night, if I turned it on, I would watch the lights of the stereo just bouncing around. And like
Nice.
I loved that. I don't remember them putting on recorded music in the house.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I did a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So you grew up in Jersey?
I'm from Florida originally, and I lived for 9 years in this particular house in New Jersey when I was a kid. Yeah,
Nice.
I lived in 8 states before moving to California 14 years ago. So
Wow. Wow.
so I lived
That's
around
amazing.
a little bit, but never Colorado. Just skipped over that middle part of the country and just went from coast to coast pretty much.
Colorado's amazing. It's like
That's what I've heard.
it's just so gorgeous. I would highly recommend it. And this music scene has really kind of become a big boom recently. Like in Denver, it's a big scene now. It wasn't that way when I was growing up there, but yeah, you should definitely check it out. As a Western state, it's truly one of the most beautiful. Yeah.
Do you go back there to play?
People think it is Midwest. It is not Midwest.
It's mountain time,
Just want
right?
to say that. Just want to say that because my girlfriend and I have endless debates on this. I think she finally gets it that it's definitely not Midwest. It is mountain time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really funny. I was thinking the other day about how when I lived in New Jersey, I was so enamored with the northeast of the U.S.
Yeah.
And by northeast, I had an aunt who lived in Connecticut. I loved visiting her. I fantasized about going to college in Boston, which I did eventually.
Yeah.
And I just loved like the further north, I went in the U.S. I just loved it. And so I was convinced that New Jersey was part of New England for a while. and I insisted, but now I look at a map and every once in a while I remember that I'm like, yeah, that's pretty mid-Atlantic right there.
That's funny. Yeah. Jersey being, no, it's so funny
No.
when people, I mean, everyone has their own like feelings about the states, but yeah, that's
Leela Simon, our mutual
yeah,
dear friend,
Leela.
has chimed in, and she is a fellow. Do you say Coloradan?
Yeah,
Coloradoan?
so Leela and I did not know each other. Hi, Leela. I can't see anything that's happening because I'm just on StreamYard. But to those of you listening, thank you for listening. Midday in Pacific time. Awesome. Good on you. Leela and I actually met in LA. We did not know each other when we were in Colorado. Yeah, and we've played in a lot of different groups together. She's an amazing player, just to give Leela a shout out, an incredible bass player. Yeah.
Haha. Leela, aka I call her Pumpkin. Actually, Pumpkin with an N, two N's. So Leela, giving you
Cute.
all the props right now.
Good to see you, Pumpkin. Good to see you.
Everyone's gonna call her Pumpkin now.
She's like,
Yeah, so for those of you watching, she is a fantastic bass player, upright and electric, and just a
incredible.
great gal, right?
Really solid human. Yes, solid.
So to go back to, I think I was trying to edge towards something. When we were talking about Claire and her busking and time and money resources and all of the different ways there. I mean, I think that when you're not in an industry, you sort of see the industry as a singular thing. But when you get closer to it and then you're in the middle of it, you're sort of standing in a circle and you can point your attention to many different facets. And I think that's probably true for any industry, but you and I are in music. And so, if you're standing in the circle of a bubble that is music, and if we're just going to continue talking about Claire Means for a second here. And
I
if
know,
she,
I didn't expect.
if she,
It's
I know,
funny 'cause we're not like super close. Like we both really like respect each other as musicians and have known each other in the scene for a while. But she's not like a bestie. But Claire, welcome to the conversation.
welcome to the conversation, Claire. Well, it's a great
She's
example
so talented.
though, because
She's great. Yeah, she's great.
It's because she's really known for busking and for
Yeah.
performing, and so like in that way, and so it's a really great example of how one person can devote their energy in that particular direction.
Yeah, I
where do you
admire that. Yeah.
what is your, if you're in the middle of this, bubble thing, or I feel like that's not a great term, but
No, I love it.
I'll go.
I love it. Let's go
Like,
with the bubble. Let's
where
float
are
in the
you
bubble together.
oriented? Let's like a hamster,
Yeah,
one of those
the
like
hamster
plastic things
wheel.
that they.
Yeah.
Where are you? Like, what is your orientation in that music domain for you?
Yeah, that's really good. Really good question, because I think that my problem is, and this is why I really, when I see Claire and I see her Instagram and I see like going live on Twitch all day, every day, I'm just like, damn, I've got like just a lot of respect for her focus. It's like she is focused on, I'm playing live, I'm setting up, I'm building a fan base on this platform, and she's done a damn good job of it. For me, I have dabbled, and like when I say dabble, it's not like I half-ass it. It's like I will full on be a side musician and tour with someone as a banjo player and mandolin player. I will do session work, and like I just, played bass. Sorry, Leela. Sometimes I play bass on tracks. I just got hired to play bass on a track. And then I produce and write music for film and TV. I just scored a film in March, a feature documentary. And so I have this problem where I'm like, I want to do it all and I can do it all. But the truth is that you burn out, like, unless you really hone it in. And I'm really hoping that, of course, here I am releasing 2 albums that are drastically different genres, but I'm really going to put in like the proper promotion and press and like, get a team of people with social media and Spotify playlists and all that to like really focus on these 2 babies that I've been working on. And then I'm going to hopefully tour with the folk album and then play some of the songs acoustic style from the pop album that I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
Right.
So really it's like a mission of, I'm going to release I love producing. I love playing everything on the track and releasing it in a fun, unique way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I admire Claire. Like we haven't really talked about this because we haven't seen each other in a while. I think the last show we played together was the Coffee Gallery. But I do, Claire, if you're listening, well done. It's amazing what she's done and like building a following for herself. She really focused. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The focus can be, it can be
Burbank,
hard.
Burbank Airport.
Can you hear that? That is a helicopter.
Oh,
That
okay,
is that is the city or county bird.
Let's play identify.
Identify the flying objects.
Transportation.
Totally. Okay, so gosh, there's so many like directions and so many questions I could ask, but in honor of this show, which is Tomes and Tunes, I want to ask you what you've been reading lately.
Yeah, so it's funny. I like to chew on books. I can read a book for so long. There's two books that I've been like reading for a very long time. Because it's one of those. One of them is a mindfulness book by Thich Nhat Hanh called Silence. And then another one I'm actually reading for a Monday group that I set up right after the murder of George Floyd. And it is a group for white women to kind of dive deeper about white privilege and white supremacy and race and fragility. And we've been reading Me and White Supremacy in that group and filling out the journal entries. So those are the two books that I've been reading. Yeah.
Beautiful. And I mean, they're not unrelated either. Exactly.
I was going to say it's one is a little bit more peaceful than the other because it's a very, very hard read. And rightfully so. Me and White Supremacy. It's like, it just it gets you right in the gut and you realize, oh my gosh, I'm very much a part of this as a white person. This is very much, you have to learn how to, the main lesson is being comfortable with discomfort.
Absolutely.
Because
yeah.
We're now just leaning into this and not approaching it with shame, but just leaning in. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing in that group. And that's true. Thich Nhat Hanh very much agrees with that. And Pema Chodron leaning into discomfort, so it is kind of related when you think about it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is something I think about a lot in general, and specifically every day in my yoga practice. I teach yoga and have an online yoga studio, and every day just being in that embodied experience of moving through discomfort and breathing through discomfort and getting acclimated with discomfort, which is different than pain. And I think in this in our culture we have I think maybe let me just say that I think a pandemic would be deeply uncomfortable any time in history and in any place in history. However, I think that perhaps this particular time and place where we live, we were particularly ill-equipped to deal with the changes that the pandemic required, and also that the cultural reckoning that came, that was inspired by the murder of George Floyd. Yeah. I think I read an article recently that said that globally the lifespan has doubled in the last 100 years. We live long here particularly, and have a lot of discomfort, but relatively speaking, historically speaking, a relatively comfortable life. And then to have to go through a period of extreme discomfort, both because of the pandemic and because of this question of, asking ourselves, how are we ignorant to our own privilege? How are we blind to the ways that things are comfortable for us or easy for us?
Yeah, that's so well said. It's just like you nailed it. I mean, I think that there are different levels of, obviously we live in a country where there's a lot of imbalance with, class, and there's people that make a lot of money, and there are people that are, have to be out and doing, like, laying the brick. And I think that the pandemic obviously had a very different effect on everyone, but the people that had the privilege. I had privilege. I was able to teach from home. I was able to make that, kind of, I teach music also. So I was able to teach my lessons on Zoom, and I felt very grateful, but it was still kind of like, this sucks. I can't go out. Like
Exactly.
this kind of weird, like, didn't Madonna say we're all in the same boat now as she's like floating in her pool in her mansion with like rose petals? And I'm like, we're not really in the same boat.
Definitely missed that, but yeah.
Yeah, like people are really upset with it. Like, we're not all in the same boat, because there are people that are extremely privileged and like doing well, and people that are like I have had a few friends that had to continue to go out and be waitresses and be in the front lines and go nurses, and that's scary shit. So I really had a lot of time to examine my privilege during this quarantine.
Yeah. Is there something from one of those books that you can share specifically?
Why, yes, there is.
How convenient. Wonderful.
Yeah, so this is called Silence, the Power of Quiet in a World Full of Noise, which I think we could all use a little right now. As a matter of fact, there we go. I feel like I'm on Oprah. This is my book.
You are on Oprah. You didn't realize that?
You're like, so yeah, this is interesting because I think I'm going through this thing now. I've been playing live recently. I've been like venturing out. I just played at the Mint and a couple other venues here in LA, and I'm like, people, sound, energies. It's a lot. It's a lot to transition into being isolated and having a lot of silence into being among large groups of people. So the quote is, "If we listen from the mind of silence, every bird song and every whispering of the pine branches in the wind will speak to us."
Oh,
Yeah, Thich Nhat Hanh.
that's true.
There we go. Yeah, beautiful. This is a great book. And it's peaceful. It's very peaceful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that you pulled up your mug that said what really matters at that moment, because that is it's perfect.
That was planned.
Good timing. Good timing.
One of my favorite meditation methods has to do with just focusing on the sensory experience. So closing my eyes and just sitting quiet. And I think of, first I usually engage with my, with the sounds that I can hear wherever I am. And they start to, what is the word when you spin, when you're like, what is that word? Is it stratification? Like the sounds kind of, instead of just being this wash that you're not really understanding and is just sort of the background noise, as you listen to it, it starts to like separate, and it feels to me often like it's an orchestra, like, it's like you have like the different timbres and the different layers of sound, the different voices in that way.
Yes,
and
it's a symphony in the body. I actually use that metaphor. I lead mindfulness as well. I'm a facilitator at a mindfulness camp called Tools for Peace.
Ooh.
And it's for teens. And I use that when I'm doing a body scan, like just notice the symphony of feelings or the symphonies of sensation, right? Yeah, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah. That makes me think that I'm a classically trained I studied classical music and early music in college, and then later went to, that was not in a music school, and then I went to a music school and studied other music. But do you have a background in symphonic orchestra or any kind of playing in that way?
I went to Cal Arts as a multi-instrumentalist, and I did take orchestration there, and I did study arrangement. It was kind of a program in the music school that you got to frolic around and do a lot of different things. But I did not, I was not like a classical player by any means. And so when I was scoring the film for Ladybuds, I had all strings. It was like a lot of string arrangements, and I had to kind of go back into my counterpoint mind back at Cal Arts, where I'm like, oh right, the cantus firmus and da 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 da, all the kind of arrangement things that you do as a string arranger. It's not my main thing at all, and it's very challenging, but it's a different part of the brain. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting that to enter that world from the the entry point is the study of it rather than the experience of it, and then
Oh,
have to
that's a
use the
great
study
way
of
of
it
saying
to,
it. Yeah, that's a good way of a really good way of saying it, actually. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I loved counterpoint. In when I went to music school, I loved writing counterpoint, but when I was studying it, it was referencing my earlier years of playing it and not, like my first experience for, till I was in my mid 20s when I went back to music school was playing it, not writing it. And then later to write it was a cool way to kind of just enter it in the opposite direction, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Very
Yeah.
cool. I was never into I mean, when I was there at Cal Arts, I didn't like theory. I didn't like classical stuff, and then I left and started teaching theory and I loved it. And so now I have a whole different relationship to music theory and arrangements and I think that maybe it's just the way that I absorbed it. To teach it, I felt
Yeah.
like I learned it more, right? Like I learned it a little
Totally.
bit. Yeah, I was able to digest it in a different
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, teaching, you do get inside it in a different way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, I'll share this
Please.
from this book, Mean by Miriam Gerba. Such a great book. It's a memoir, and it's somewhat experimental structure, not too far out there, but she does play with structure and language. And this particular chapter is called English is Spanish. And I really enjoy this chapter, so I want to share this. Called English is Spanish. I began as an only child with an only language. This language was English and Spanish. My English and Spanish came from a pact my parents made. My father, a green-eyed American, agreed to speak to me in English. My mother, a Mexican by birth, a feminist by choice, promised to speak to me in her native Romance language. Their pact gave me lots of words. Folgers, crystals, assholes. Oh no, I'll just disrupt my reading for a moment to say that I just ventured into reading this chapter without thinking about the fact that I actually do not know Spanish, the language. And so there are a lot of Spanish words in this chapter that I don't know how to pronounce. Oh boy. Okay, I'll
you
just
just
try.
give it a go.
I'll just
I once went to Costa Rica and said that I was embarrassed. I tried saying I was embarrassed that I didn't know Spanish, and I ended up telling him I was pregnant. So,
Mazel tov.
yeah, I was like just trying my best. He's like, "Oh, congratulations!"
So I have to ask forgiveness for anybody who speaks Spanish and also for
Just
those
go
who
for
don't.
it.
Okay.
Just go for it.
Their pact gave me lots of words. Folgers, crystals, asshole, aguacate, tiliche, Cadillac, smart, girl, sandwich. That's Mexican for sandwich. I spoke my first words at a place more American than Appomattox, the McDonald's across from the Greyhound bus station. This made me a patriot, though the words themselves were francophile. French fry, I moaned, reaching for one. French fry. Those are a lot of consonant clusters for a small mouth. French fry, Papa Francesa. Pomme frite, Joan of Arc. While Mom drew blood at the hospital and Dad worked teaching fourth graders, I amused myself at nursery school. From its playground, I saw tombstones, monuments, and an American flag waving at the cemetery. I got down on all fours and knelt in the dirt by the swings. I stared at a gopher hole, wanting to slide my fist down into it. The hole proved very tempting for one boy. He sexually assaulted it, and they took him away in an ambulance. I enjoyed the cuisine at nursery school. It tasted metallic, since it all came from cans, even the juice. I hated nap time. Nap time was torture. I wanted to move and talk during nap time, but I couldn't. I forced myself to stay still and shut my eyes. I listened to the other kids breathe. I peeked at the ceiling and at light making its way through the thin cracks between curtains. I wondered about the cemetery. The mats were soft and smelled like children who drank juice. Dad forgot to pick me up once. I didn't mind. Dusk was coming, and a nursery school teacher and I sat together at a short table. We stared at a wall clock. I smiled and told her, I wonder what happens here at night. I imagine toys, books, blankets, chairs, and cans becoming enchanted, performing for me after dark. I asked, "Do you think things come to life and move?" The nursery school teacher laughed. She said, "They might." The door opened. Dad stood there. "I'm sorry," he said. As he explained the reason for his tardiness, I zoned out, fantasizing about enchanted objects, disappointed that I would be sleeping in my own bed and not a nursery school cupboard. Dad laughed at the way my nursery school teachers treated me. My language paradox escaped them. They didn't get that my first language was double theirs. Dad discovered their misunderstanding as we set the dinner table one night. I pointed. In a didactic tone, I narrated, "This is a plate. This is a cup. This is a spoon. This is a fork." I gestured and continued, "This is a chair. This is a table. This is the kitchen." Dad's brow furrowed. He watched and listened. I grabbed his hand, walked him around the house, and introduced him to more domestic nouns. "This is a lamp. This is a television. This is dust. This is a sofa." Eventually, he laughed. Mom was in the kitchen. He shouted, "Guess what?" at her. "Kay." "The nursery school ladies think Miriam can't speak English, so they're trying to teach her. They've turned her into a parrot." Dad spoke the truth. This was exactly what happened. On my first day, yo hablé con mis nursery school maestras usando palabras como estas because I assumed we all had the same words. I didn't know I was spewing ciphers fed to me by a foreigner. I didn't know Mexicans were Mexicans, a category some mistake for subhuman, a category my grandfather mistakes for divine. I thought of myself as a person, and I understood people. People were people, and people talked, and talking was for everyone. Today, I understand that words are for every one, but not every Juan is for every word. So please, dear reader, si no te molesta demasiado, pass me the metaphorical French fries as you whisper what you wish had been the first un-American words to pass through your uncorrupted lips.
Wow. Very cool.
I
Very
can't
cool.
believe I ventured into that without first. It's one thing to read with your eyes, it's another to read it aloud.
No, it's awesome. I think my dad would really love that. He's a writer, and he's really into kind of more experimental stuff and memoirs as well. He takes a lot of classes, and he also he's a published writer. He would really be into that. So I will check that out for him.
Miriam Gerbad, she's a local LA art author. And
Cool.
I'm trying to remember where she was. She recently left her post. She was teaching at a local university. I can't remember which one offhand.
Oh,
but
nice.
yeah.
No, he would. He might even know who she is. Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Send him that book.
I will.
I
will.
love it. Okay, Abby, I think it's time for some tunes.
Yes.
Will you play some music for us?
Yes. Let me get the reverb going. Okay. So I'm going to play a brand new song that is going to be on the upcoming album.
Which one?
This is going to be on the folk album. The folk album is going to be called Kisby Ring. Do you know what a Kisby Ring is?
Uh-uh.
A Kisby Ring is a fancier word for this big, the big orange lifesaver that you can toss out to save someone in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole album is kind of about urgency in different ways. Urgency with social justice, urgency in a relationship, urgency with communication, just feeling like you're trying to stay afloat. That's kind of the theme of the album. So this is called Emergency Use Only.
just called to stay awake on these dark and windy roads. You could nod off with a blink. Well, these days life feels like a chore, thrown out to the deepest sea. Now I cannot find the shore, so take it out on me. All the stories in your head, you don't have to believe, and time may slip on by. The arc of what we learn depends on how hard you try. So take it all out on me. Take it all out on me. I just called to say goodbye. It didn't go our way at all, so we rewrote every line. I know life can bring you down. Ooh, sending out an SOS. We can turn this thing around. So take it out on me. You project the story, and I'll be the screen. Don't let it slip on by. It doesn't matter what you know, it's about how hard you try. So take it all out on me. Yeah, take it all out on me. Take it all out on me. Take it all out on me. You project the story, and I'll be the scream. Take it all out on me. Don't let it slip on by. Take it all out on me. Scream, take it all out on me. Don't let it slip on by. Take it all out on me.
Thank you.
Take it all out on me.
Exactly. There's 3-part harmonies. You
Yeah,
got
totally.
It,
I was singing along. I love it. So fun.
Thank you. Thank you so
really
much.
Good. Thanks for playing that. Do you know when that album's going to come out?
I'm really hoping in the fall. It's almost done being mixed right now. I keep listening and tweaking, so it's almost there, and I finally got photos and getting an album cover idea ready, and gonna have, I think that might be the single of the album, but I'm still fishing through some of them, So getting it all ready, hopefully the fall.
When you collected the songs for this album, the 10 songs, did you write 10 songs and with the goal in mind to put those 10 songs on this particular album, or did you write a bucket of songs and then of that select 10 songs?
That's a great question. Let me turn off my reverb to answer.
This question needs a straight answer.
Yes,
no
it
reverb.
needs a straight answer. We don't need any echo here. We're not messing around. So with this one, there are a couple songs. Let me see, to be exact. There are maybe 2, even 1 on the album. Let's say 2 that I was like kind of wrote as singles, and 1 was years ago that I wrote that just happened to make it on because it works with the theme. But the other 8 I wrote, God, is that right? Yeah, the other 8 I wrote within the last year, for sure, that were like very much along the lines of, being in isolation and some of the thoughts you have, and like what does family look like, and what does a relationship look like? I mean, like I'm in a very wonderful relationship, but we've, riding the waves of the ups and downs, and like especially in a pandemic, and how how a relationship works in a pandemic, like some of these things. And I write as if I'm journaling, so a lot of the stuff just spews out, and sometimes it doesn't make sense until I'm producing it. It's like a puzzle that I'm solving. So yeah, I'd say 8 of the songs I wrote with that theme in mind, knowing this is going to all work together. Yeah, it came together in the end. I'd say that. Yeah.
Interesting. I love how you just asked, or you said how a relationship works in a pandemic, as if we could ever imagine that, like, and now we know, and so we can file that away for, once we're through with this one, in the
hopefully
event that
there's not another one.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna play?
Well, this is a newer song. I think I've played it on this show before, but I keep going back and forth between bringing in songs that I have literally just finished, more or less. I mean, the thing about when a song is finished, this, it's like then it has to kind of sit and marinate, and like there's a lot of it's like the universe comes together, and then there's adjustments that happen. And so on this show, sometimes I bring in those songs even as the adjustments. Everything is still in flux. So I think I brought this song in a couple of weeks ago when that was the case, and it's starting to gel and come together. So
awesome.
Also, speaking of relationships and pandemic, I can't say why, because I have not felt this. I have not been this kind of writer for a long time, but I am writing a lot of love songs, and I feel like one of the beautiful things that has come out of the pandemic time for me is that I feel like I have a better understanding of, this is a weird thing to say, but I feel like I have a better understanding of what love is. And I also feel like I have a better, as much as I have a long time, yoga and meditation practice, I feel like I have an even better understanding of the present moment, or not understanding, but appreciation of the present moment, which I had before, but this song is very much about, it's called Bottle Up Tonight, and it's very much about just, this precise moment, so.
Cool.
Here we go. One part alabaster moon, one part rustling old raccoon, one part whispers of a breeze, one part heady jasmine blooms, one part lonely nightbird tunes, one part two heartbeats. Might we make an apothecary potion? Or bottle it like Napa wine? Might we capture all we left unspoken? Cork it up for future delight. Whatever time might hold, whatever fate unfolds, forget all that we can't control. But let's bottle up tonight. Spotlight of a street lamp beam, shadows dancing in between. familiar as an old refrain. And all the stories of the past, the future ones that come too fast, and off the edges of the frame. Might we make an apothecary potion, or bottle it like Napa wine? Might we capture all we left unspoken, cork it up for future delight? Whatever time might hold, whatever fate unfolds, forget all that we can't control. But let's bottle up whatever time might hold, whatever fate unfolds. Forget all that we can't control, but let's bottle up tonight.
Yay! I love that song.
Thank
Oh my
you.
goodness. That might be, and I've heard you a couple times now doing, I think it was like an open mic we did together online.
Yeah, we did the
Swallow
was it the
Hill.
Far West Camp. Oh, did you do the Swallow Hill?
Yeah. Maybe
I'm
it was Far
gonna-
West.
I think it was Far West, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna be at Swallow Hill tonight for their
Oh,
song
great.
circle.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely my favorite song of yours, hands down. It's like,
Oh, thank you.
it just it's unexpected. Obviously, you're going in a lot of different directions there with your minor 4 and your major 2, but like kind of modulating subtly is really awesome. Really clever lyrics, musicality, like just the arrangement is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's really good. I hope that you can record that one soon.
That would be very lovely. I hope so.
Yeah.
P.S. Folks, join the Patreon.
Yeah, right here. Wait, let's wait for it to come.
Yeah. Let's get that song recorded. Join the Patreon.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
those
much.
kind words.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. Now, I always screw this up with anyone that has a name that could sound both ways.
R-E-L.
Is it Arielle?
I say R-E-L, like 3 letters.
Arielle.
Arielle Silver.
Because you could go so many ways.
I know.
Arielle.
Arielle.
Arielle. Yes. So it's
Ariel.
It's Ariel.
Yeah. It's R-E-L.
Arielle. God damn it.
R-E-L.
See? What's another name like that you can go so many ways with?
Oh, Andrea and Andrea.
Oh, God. Just destroy me now.
But-
People
but-
do call me Posner, and I don't really care.
Oh, wait. How do you say it?
You said it right. You said it right. It's Posner.
Posner. And they say Posner.
People say Posner all the time, and I'm like, I don't care. My accordion player, though, if Kara, if you're listening, she's always like very defensive of my last name. Kara's another one. Kara. People call her Kara.
Yes.
Yeah,
Names
those
are
names.
hard. Well, I gotta say that
Arielle.
when I was in 7th grade, somewhere around there, I actually asked my mom. I was like, "How do you say my name?" Because my family, they all call me Ari. But my
Okay.
great grandmother, I knew almost all of my great grandparents. I'm the oldest child of the oldest child on both sides, and everybody had kids young, so I knew most of my great grandparents. And one of my great grandmothers, she always called me. Her husband's name was Harry, so she called me Ari.
Oh, confusing.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. So finally in 7th grade, I was like, "Mom, how do you say my name?" And I don't remember exactly what she said, but in the end, I decided, okay, R-E-L reminds me of like R-E-M, the band, or REO
R-E-L.
Speedwagon. And
Do you say it like that too? Do you go Ariel?
I say Arielle. Yeah.
Ariel.
Yeah. I have a couple of friends who literally spell it R-E-L.
Ariel. 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 I got it. Yep.
Okay, now
That's
you have
good.
to say your last name one more time. Abby
Posner.
Posner. There's an
Posner.
implied silent E between the
And
S and the
people
N.
think people always used to make fun of my last name. You know that poser, poser. So just take the N out. And that's what you get. Poser, Posner.
Well, I feel like the what is it? The joke is on them because I feel like you're just such a stellar musician and person that
Thank you.
you could do a whole. Maybe you have already, but I feel like you could do a whole play on that. And your Abby Posner posse, they can all be Posner posers if they like. There's a whole world that you could
Posner
go on.
posse. Posner. I called myself a composner.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, pretty good.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, we will have to continue this, but at least we know how to say each other's names next time.
I know we
meet.
did it. We did it.
We did it.
This was
Abby,
really fun. Thank you.
It was fun. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll connect soon. You stay
Yes.
right there. I'm gonna say goodbye
Yes.
to everyone else here. Oh wait, before I let you go, is there any shows that you want to mention or anything
Yes,
that people
definitely. So I would love to mention a show.
Yeah.
My booking agency, Baker Booking, is putting on a big Pride event, and that is going to be June 4th. It's a week from tomorrow, and it's a virtual Pride event. You can actually find out all about it if you go to my website, abbyposner, that's right, .com, and you just click on the shows. The event information will be there. I would love, love, love to see you all. It's going to be a really big show. Tret Fury is going to be playing, and Kip Martin and myself. It's going to be the three of us, and yeah, we're just really excited about it. So definitely come to that.
That's awesome. That's right. Congratulations. I love Louise and Bruce over at Baker
Oh,
Booking.
that's right. You know them too. We have
Yeah.
so many weird corners of things in common.
They're fabulous. I just played
Yeah.
I just played Bruce's Music My Mother Would Not Like show.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's
I think it
great.
was 2
Great
weeks
show.
ago. They
Yeah.
are awesome. They are
Yeah.
so, you just feel very well taken care of, like completely supported and carried, that through the
Yes.
every aspect of it. So
Thank
congratulations.
you. Yeah,
That's great.
they are like very authentic, nurturing, caring individuals. Like they're not your typical booking agents at all. They're like very down to earth, and
Yeah.
they really care about their artists that
Yeah.
are on their roster, and their artists that are on their roster are so talented. Like everyone on the roster is just very high quality, and I just have great respect for every single person that they have signed. So it's a real honor, and yes, shout out to Bruce and Louise. They're
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just said that they are very supportive of their artists, and I feel like they are just supportive of singer-songwriters and the folk music
Yeah.
world, and
Yeah.
it just like it carries out. Like something I was really struck by when I played their show was how much they try to educate their audience on how to be good music-loving citizens, and how to what
Yeah.
are great ways, both paid and unpaid ways, to support live music and songwriters and all of that stuff. And that reminds me that I should say, everybody please follow, here's a plane going overhead, please follow the planes, and please follow Abby on Spotify, on Instagram and Facebook, and all of wherever you listen to music. Subscribe to her YouTube channel and all of that stuff, because those
Yes,
kinds of
thank you.
numbers really help independent artists, and it's an easy, quick, free way that you can support all the artists.
Yeah,
So-
we appreciate it. We appreciate all the pokes and the likes and the this and the that and the shares, and yeah, we really do. So thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, Abby, I will catch you soon.
Okay, thanks for
Right.
having me.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody else, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed the show. Abby's music is fantastic. I'm just such a fan. So please do those things. Follow her, listen to her music, check her out, and keep your eyes open or your ears open for the upcoming albums this year from her. Check out, of course, that show next week, June 4th. And you can find, I just put links in the chat box so that on Facebook and on YouTube you should be able to see Abby's website and check out her show page to find the links for that show that she was mentioning on June 4th coming up. Next week we have, hi Abby. Haha, there we go. That was surprising. Sorry about that. Next week I have episode 54 on this show, Tina Ross. So very excited. She is a jazzy, folky artist, and it'll be really fun to chit-chat with her. So until I see you next time, take good care, be well. Bye-bye.